You're listening to Soap Dirt, the latest in television entertainment news.
Hey, General Hospital fans, we are going to talk about who left the ABC soap in 2024. From Spencer to Heather, Jagger, so many people gone. Death, missing, wandered off. It's Belinda from Soap Dirt. And hey, if you are not subscribed, please click to follow. And let's look back at everybody who we lost through various reasons. In January 2024, very early in January, we had Ryan Carnes back for a couple of episodes as Lucas Jones when he returned for his mom, Bobby Spencer's funeral. And now he has been recast with Van Hansis, so looks like Ryan is done at GH for good, but Lucas is sticking around. Also back for Bobby's funeral was Mark Anthony Samuels as Felix Dubois, and he has not been seen since then. We also got a huge, surprising blast from the past in January when Brighton Hertford came back for Bobby's funeral. She played little BJ Jones as a kid. Her final scenes were those heartbreaking ones when she died and her heart was donated to save Maxie Jones, and she was all grown up and was basically an angel at Bobby's send-off. One of the biggest exits from GH in 2024 that still bothers fans because, you know, they want him back was Nicolas Chavez. His final episode as Spencer Cassadine was the last day of January 2024. That was also the last episode for Esme Prince, played by Avery Pohl. Spencer and Esme went overboard on the River Seine into icy waters when he was saving Trina, and his exit was open-ended and was presumed that he would come back, but he has got all these high-profile projects, so Nicolas Chavez at least won't be back. So if Spencer returns, it'll be a recast. Heather Alt was back briefly as Maggie, the nanny who had been one of the few people that had a place in awful Esme's heart, and I doubt we're going to see Maggie back unless Esme resurfaces from that watery grave. Early February 2024 saw the exit of Joshua Bernard as a troubled college student named Adam Wright. He had an issue with meds and booze, and he had a little bit of a run. He had been here and there back when Joss and Trina were living on campus, and then a larger arc. And Joss tried to help him, and then the storyline abruptly evaporated, and that was the last we saw of Maurice Bernard's son. In March 2024, we saw Lydia Look's last episode as Brad Cooper's mobbed-up aunt, Selena Wu. That came mid-month in the aftermath of Curtis Ashford's shooting. Selena dropped in to tell him she thinks Jason shot him. She was wrong, and now Selena's gone, but she'll probably turn back up at some point. In May, we said goodbye to Ellen Travolta as Lois's mom, Gloria Cirillo, when she left Port Charles after BLQ's wedding to Chase, and we had a few other little ins and outs around that wedding. Gregory Harrison's run ended on General Hospital on May 21st when his character Gregory Chase passed away in his sleep from complications of ALS. He died right after BLQ and Chase's wedding, and this led to the June exit of his eldest son. Alexis faced a fight to get back her law license in May, and the excellent Lane Davies turned up in a few episodes as Fergus Byrne, the brother of Alexis's dead ex, who fought her reinstatement, but he did not succeed. In June 2024, Michael Easton wrapped his run on GH as Dr. Hamilton Finn. He left Port Charles to go to rehab after falling off the wagon in grief over his dad, and he had to leave his daughter Violet behind, but they were reunited off screen later. We'll get to her exit in just a second. Summer in July brought us the final episode of the excellent Sam McMurray in his brief run as Congressman McConkey, the guy that was Nina's family friend who asked Drew Q to run for his seat in Congress because he was dying, and he did pass away, and that was how his character left. And then it was mid-July of this year when we said goodbye to Valentine and Charlotte Cassadine. He took his daughter, ran off out of the U.S. to avoid FBI arrest at the hands of Jagger Cates. James Patrick Stewart is really busy with other projects, and of course Valentine had been painted into a villainous corner where he really couldn't stay, so no idea if he'll be back, but we got a glimpse of Charlotte in Christmas week, so I fully expect her back in town. Scarlett Fernandez will return to GH. If we don't have more of her in between, Christmas and New Year's week, definitely early 2025, because Lulu is rushing off to find her daughter now that she knows where she is. Also in mid-July, Hudson West exited GH as Jake Weber, who was shipped off to art school in Spain after his dad, Jason Morgan, wrote a big fat check to cover the cost of the prestigious European college. I hate to even mention this one, but for, completion purposes, I will. We had a one and done episode with Perez Hilton, who showed up in that messy storyline where Blaze's mom said homophobic things, and then they somehow tried to make Natalia a victim instead of just an awful human and dragged him into it. And anyway, in one of a series of random in and out returns for past characters, we got Brian Craig back for just a minute as ghostly, still dead Morgan Corinthos to talk his dad, Sonny Corinthos, literally off a ledge in early August. Scott Baldwin disappeared abruptly from Port Charles in mid-August. He was keeping an eye on the pharmacist who tampered with Sonny's meds, but Jason found where they were. Scott ran off in fear. We've not seen him since. When asked in mid-November about when he'd be back to GH, Ken Schreiner replied, "No plans," but he usually gripes that he's been written out and then he returns when they need Scotty, because the fact is he's not on contract, he's on recurring. Also gone mid-August was Jacqueline Grace Lopez as Allison Rogers Ramirez, aka Blaze. Allie left town to go on tour, and Christina refused to make plans to get together when the tour was over, essentially breaking up with Allie. In late August, we had the 9th and final episode in 2024 of Adam Huss as Nicolas Cassadine. He is in prison. Laura went to see him to get his liver tested to donate to Lulu, and we already know he's a match, but Nicholas's liver had some issues, so that was a no-go. I would absolutely love to see him back, but I doubt Adam Huss has time because he has just a huge pile of new projects on his plate. At the end of August, we saw the death of Jagger Cates and Adam Harrington's final episode. This was just a mess. Start to finish, they recast, got rid of Antonio Sabato Jr., brought in Adam Harrington, who is a great actor, and then they twisted the character into this vengeful, rogue FBI agent that was out of control. Sonny murdered him, and the writers were trying to clean up a return that never should have happened because of just the musical chairs in the writer's room, and then they've now abruptly dropped the investigation into Jagger's death. It's just sloppy. Jagger's death also ushered out fake agent Linda, who had been watching Ava on Jagger's orders and was taking her out to kill her when Jason saved the day. The last time we saw Lynn Herring as Lucy Coe was late September 2024, and she typically comes and goes, but in this case, I suspect that she is taking a break from General Hospital. Her husband was in his final days at the point that she stopped filming at the soap. Lynn's husband, Wayne Northrup, passed away on November 29th, 2024 from complications of early onset Alzheimer's. I would expect to see Lucy back at some point in 2025 though, but that remains to be seen. Violet Finn left Port Chuck on October 21st to reunite with her dad Finn, who had completed rehab and decided to relocate to Seattle, where he'd just taken a job. We may see Jophia Love again, if and when she returns to visit her Uncle Chase and Aunt Brooklyn. That's exactly the kind of cameo they like to, bring somebody in and then, back out in a few episodes. Judy Kane had a fun little run as Private Eye Elaine, who stalked Carly and later whom Ned hired along with her little dog to get some dirt on Drew Q, and she was wrapped in her run by October as well. Late October saw the exit of Allie Mills as Heather Weber. She promised her grandson Ace she'd be back, and she may be. What was bizarre was General Hospital brought back Scott Reeves as Stephen Lars Weber for just a couple of episodes to usher her out. Fans have wanted Liz to have her family around, her siblings, but this was just a random cameo to facilitate Heather's outro. Kelly Monaco had her last scenes on Wednesday, October 30th. Not quite her last scenes, I'll clarify. Sam died on Wednesday, October 30th, and then a few weeks later, we had another scene of her on December 9th. This was a scene of Sam and Cyrus when the leak was confirmed, and we saw Cyrus slip the digitalis into her IV to kill her, and then he touched her hair while she was sleeping. I wouldn't be surprised if we had a couple of flashback scenes, but that does seem to be her last new scene. that we had not seen yet. Robert Scorpio and Holly Sutton left Port Charles on November 12th with plans to ultimately return. This was the exit of Tristan Rogers and Emma Sams. It was kind of insane for the writers to do this huge retcon to make them Sasha Gilmore's parents and then had them abandon her. They're supposedly coming back, no dates yet. Morgan Fairchild had several episodes of GH as Haven de Haviland from That Home Shopping thing. Her last appearance was early December, but I expect her back in 2025. Evan Hofer wrapped his run as Dex Heller on Friday, the 13th of December, when he died after routine surgery for a stabbing. We may get, some bonus flashback scene kind of things like we did with Sam. No doubt, Dex was the second death at GH due to digitalis at the hands of awful Cyrus Renaud, who had also stabbed him. Carlo Rota turned up as Sidwell in December, a month after we thought he was gone for good when he got his diamonds back and tried to blow up Sasha in November. Creepy Sidwell stalked Sasha to church and heard her tell God that she's pregnant, so unless the writers forget and drop yet another plot, we should see Sidwell back at some point in 2025. And William Lipton, last but not least, was in and out in a perplexing one-episode return as Cameron Weber. I don't know why they did this drive-by appearance. It's not satisfying for fans. It's like, well, why? Anyway, who knows when Cameron will be back? Who knows even why they brought him back out of nowhere? It felt utterly random and pointless.
Thank you for being a loyal listener. Follow us wherever you get your podcast, because you don't want to miss the next episode. Soap Dirt is on all the major podcast platforms, including Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and more.